Afternoon. Let's discuss the Unit 5 of Block 2, and the topic is Trends in Consumer Influencing Factor Behavior. Last class we understood what are the psychological factors, social factor, and personal family factors. Today we will understand those factors that literally influence the buying behavior of the consumers. After this discussion, you will get to know the trends in consumption patterns of rural consumers. You can evaluate changes in consumption patterns among rural consumers. We can discuss category of specific behavioral patterns, differentiate between urban and rural buying behavior trends, and towards the end, you can suggest the road ahead of the rural marketers in the future marketing strategy. The key goal of this unit is to give you a detailed understanding of rural consumption pattern, and after the discussion you will get to know the above details. Let's introduce the topic to you, trends in consumer behavior. The unit introduces us to the trends in consumer behavior with a special focus on rural India. In the previous minute, we learned about how consumers make decisions and what factors affect them. We shift from the theory to practice in this unit and studying what rural consumers are actually buying and how their choices are changing, what are the influencing factors, and how this means to the marketer or the companies, those who are planning to sell their products in rural belt. The previous unit focused on how consumers make buying decisions, covering factors like cultural, social, personal, and psychological influences. This unit is focusing on the process of buying. It looks at the outcomes, what products consumers are purchasing, how the consumption has changed over time, and what new trends are emerging in consumer buying behavior. We will explain the economic changes shaping rural India, then explore how savings and asset ownership patterns influence consumption. Again, we will discuss the rural households buy today, both essential and lifestyle product. We will also study emerging trends such as digital adoption and processed food consumption. Finally, this unit will give you the insights for the marketers on how to design effective rural strategies and what the road ahead looks like for the marketers. So the major discussion point for this entire unit will be changes in rural economy, their saving and asset ownership styles or patterns, current consumption patterns, what are the emerging trends in their buying behavior, and what message it will give to the marketers to sell their products in rural belt. Let's discuss changes in rural economy. As the points goes, there is a decline in rural population due to migration, but absolute numbers is growing. Diversification of income sources beyond agriculture. People are not exactly focusing nowadays on agriculture. They have started adopting different types of occupation. Better access to infrastructure and services. The condition to rural areas in terms of infrastructures is slowly developing. So the proportion of rural population in India is gradually decreasing due to urbanization, due to migration of people from rural to urban sector. But the absolute number of rural population is still very large that the marketer cannot ignore this potential market of rural areas. The rural economy is no longer solely dependent on agriculture. People are also engaged in trade, services, migration-based income. This diversification is shaping new patterns of consumption and aspiration to new products because people are having the better quality of purchasing capacity. So they are looking for better products or branded products or different types of product to purchase. Earlier, rural India was mostly characterized by farming communities with limited access to education and information. Today, rural India is younger, with increasing literacy rate, exposure to television, mobile phones, and social media. This demographic shift directly influences what rural consumers are nowadays demanding to purchase new products. Earlier, as we understand, it was majorly agriculture-based economy in rural belt, so their demand for product is also limited. Now, because these people are now exposed to different social media and TV advertisement, they are looking for new products, or we can simply say their demand for the consumer product is changing. Let's discuss the literacy trend in rural market. One of the most important changes has been the in literacy. In 2001 to 2011, census data showed that female literacy grew by 12.6, and it's a remarkable number, which is a significant jump in literacy rate. While rural-urban differences remain, the gap is slowly narrowing, meaning that rural consumers are more informed about product, they are having aspiration to buy new product, and now they are open to new product adaptation. With this number, at least we can summarize the thing that slowly the buying behavior is changing as per their literacy rate. They are more informed about the product, and they are identifying their particular needs, so their buying decision for the new product or the new buying behavior is seen in rural market. Let's understand the role of government schemes, and we can conclude that this is also influencing the buying behavior of the rural population. Government initiatives have played a central role in improving rural livelihood. We know about these schemes, that is MGNR and EGS, NRLM, PMGCSY. These are all abbreviations. This guarantees employment of 100 days and helps create durable rural infrastructure, Monoregas. NRLM empowers women through self-help group, SSG group, and establishment of SSG group is through the scheme of NRLM. PMGSY has connected villages with better road infrastructure, allowing goods and services to flow more easily. These schemes increase the income security and consumption opportunities for rural buyers, because the infrastructure is developing, the product is reaching to the customer house, and customer is also equally getting informed about the product through the schemes. So there is a role of government schemes in shaping the rural buying behavior of rural customers. Non-farm income sources. Let's understand beyond agriculture what are the income sources for rural buyers. This diagram shows you that during 2010, non-farm incomes was at the rate of 60%, but 2020 it has increased to 70%. A striking change in rural India is the growing importance on non-farm income sources. Let it be a service sector, let it be something else as an occupation for the rural market consumers, but it is growing. Many rural households now depend on shops, handicrafts, and services for income. Migration to cities provides remittance that support rural households. Those who are migrating from village to town, they are having different occupation at town, they are remitting their income to their households or to their family, those who are residing at village. This is also shaping the purchasing behavior of the rural customers. This trend makes rural income less dependent on farming cycle or agriculture and creates more stable consumption demand. And we are clear about this diagram that is provided in your material, that slowly the non-farm dependence or the income sources are getting more from the non-farm engagements. Poverty reduction patterns. Rural poverty has shown a consistent decline over the past few decades. On this table that during the year 1973 to 74, poverty percentage in rural is 56%, urban it was 49%, but if you see the percentage of 2004 and 5, the rural poverty percentage has decreased to 28% from 56% of 73 and 74 year, and the urban poverty had also decreased to 26% from 49%. This signifies what? This signifies that rural poverty has shown a consistent decline over the past few decades. And because of welfare schemes of government, increased literacy, and better infrastructure. However, poverty is not evenly distributed. Some states and districts still lag behind, which means marketers need a region specific approach for their marketing activities. So, the major takeaway from this is that though poverty is reducing, but it is not uniform. So, if marketer is having a specific marketing strategy for the rural segment, they may face difficulties or limitations. So, they need to study the specific behavior of rural belt as per to the factor poverty reductions. When we compare rural literacy with urban literacy, urban India still leads, but the growth rate in rural areas is higher, especially among the women. This means that in the near future, rural consumers will be better informed because, as we already discussed in the previous unit, for specific FMCG product, the purchase decision lies with women of the family. And when the women is getting literate, so the next generation or the near future will see what? The near future, the rural consumers will be better informed and will demand products that match their aspirations similar to their urban counterpart. So the basic understanding is that female literacy is improving faster in rural areas and catching up with urban styles. Monrega is a landmark scheme. By offering 100 days of employment per household, it puts cash in the hands of rural people. When there is cash in the rural people, their purchasing capacity is increasing. At the same time, it creates assets like roads due to the scheme, bonds and wells that support agriculture and rural development. This is not only improves livelihoods but also stimulates local demand for goods and services. So this is just an example that is initiated by Government of India for the development of rural belt by developing their infrastructure and by giving them 100 days of employment, and customers are getting cash in their hands, so they are intended or their aspiration to purchase new product is enhancing. Growth of rural infrastructure, better roads means easier transport of goods. That we already, all of you know this about this. Previously, infrastructure was a limitation for the marketers. Nowadays, because due to the variety of schemes, better roads are available in rural belt. That means easier transport of goods. Electricity powers to small businesses and mobile and internet connectivity gives rural consumers exposure to advertisement and online markets. Banking access through Jan Dhan accounts and microfinance schemes has also made credit available. That means when the people are getting credit balance in their account or they are having an option to buy the product and pay later, their behavior or buying behavior is also shaping or changing as per that, and it is enabling households to spend more confidently because they are having credit system, they are having information of the product due to the internet access, and the growth of rural infrastructure is nowadays visible in terms of roads, electricity and mobile network, banking and microfinance penetration, and improved market access and consumer awareness. Rise of rural aspiration or due to the economic changes nowadays is visible in buying behavior of rural customers and buying psychology of rural customers. The big picture is that rural India is no longer limited to consumption. With higher income groups or higher capacity of buying, better education, better literacy rate, now they are exposed to urban lifestyle also. Rural consumers increasingly want branded goods, better services and aspirational product, or we can summarize this. Last unit taught us that they are more into basic need product purchasing, but slowly they are also moving towards aspirational product and sometime toward the luxurious products also. These changes make rural India one of the most important future markets for companies. Due to shift from subsistence to aspirational consumption, higher demand for branded goods, and rural belt is emerging with growth engine. So this is the understanding that slowly rural customer is equally getting adapting or equally adapting the new products, new branded product, new services available in the market due to their higher incomes, due to better education, due to higher literacy rate, exposure to urban lifestyle and more cash in their pocket. How do they save? What are the saving priorities for rural India? Rural households save primarily for security and social need. They don't save for holiday vacations at all. They save for security and social need. The top priorities are emerging like health expenses, children's education, and support in old age. But a very significant share goes to social ceremonies like marriages, which are considered status symbols in village. Unlike urban areas, investment for wealth creation is less common. Savings are often precautionary or cultural. So their saving attitude is for specific function for their marriage, upcoming function in their marriage. Suppose a rural customer has a girl child and she or he is saving for the marriage of her girl after 10 years or 20 years. This is the way or this is the pattern they used to save based on their cultural understanding or cultural binding of marriage ceremonies. They also save for their securities and social needs, but the primary or priorities of saving money is for their health round. If they for their health expenses, they usually think that tomorrow for their health they or health complications they need to save money. So the major four factors why their savings are emergencies and health needs, their children's education, old age support, and social ceremonies and obligations. For social ceremonies as a major expenses for the rural customers. Nearly two-thirds of rural savings are allocated to social ceremonies like weddings, religious functions, and community gathering are seen as essential for social status and relationship. This reflects how culture strongly influences financial priorities in rural India. For marketers, it means demand spikes around festivals and marriage season. They need to take care of this. They need to do the strategy for their marketing activities linked to this particular factors. Around 63.9% of rural saving are used for ceremonies. Marriage is the event where they spend maximum of their savings. Cultural and social status driven spending is seen in rural buying behavior. How do they purchase assets? Rural households are increasingly acquiring assets. Over half own mobile or landline telecom services, about a third own TVs, and a growing number are buying two-wheelers. These assets indicate rising disposable income and aspiration to improve lifestyle and connectivity. If you connect with the percentage, 53.3 households of India are having telecom services. 33.4 households are having TV ownership, and 14.3 households are having two-wheeler ownership. This shows significant behavior of rural India in spending money for assets purchasing in terms of having a TV or two-wheelers. Fast moving consumer goods or FMCG are deeply entrenched in rural marketing. Items like oil, tea, biscuits are now considered essential and reach nearly every household. This shows that the rural market are as important as urban for FMCG company, like minimum requirement of the households like we discussed oil, tea, biscuits. Cooking oil has reached 96% of household of a rural belt. Likewise, tea has a penetration rate of 89%. Biscuits is at a rate of 76% penetration in rural India. So the understanding is clear. Slowly, from the agricultural outcomes, they are also purchasing FMCG product, and these are the statistics. What are the low penetration or low penetrated product in rural belt? Despite the growth in FMCG, modern packet foods like noodles and ketchup still have very low penetration in rural India. This is due to preferences because people are not that acquainted with Maggie and other packed food. Low awareness of this product, affordability issues, and lack of available of this kind of product in local shop. But this also presents a growth opportunity for companies if they adapt product to rural taste and price point. So this is a gap for the marketers to introduce their product while linking the taste of the product as per the taste of the villages. Noodles They have penetrated only up to 3% of the rural belt. Ketchup is just at the 1% of the households. So there is a potential market for both these products. Marketers need to understand the taste of the households or the rural customers, and they can modify their products as per their traits, as per their taste to satisfy their needs. In cities, noodles and ketchup are common in almost every household, while rural families prefer traditional foods and economic capacity drive consumption differences. Marketers must not assume rural consumers will automatically adopt urban products without customization. It is quite simple. Urban households, there is a high adoption for noodles, ketchup, biscuits, and packed foods like chips and other things. But rural households depending or still sticking to traditional food like rice, wheat, and pulses like marketers want to penetrate to the rural belt, they need to hook both the culture and affordability as well as the availability of the product in the local shops so that they can tap, they can map, and they can also grab the market of rural belt. These are few tables where you can understand the household penetration of FMCG products. I have only discussed the few products, but you can also go through the other products. Like milk powder, the penetration rate is at 4%. Instant noodle has 3%. Toothpaste, though it has penetrated up to 51% of the rural belt, but the many potential market is available for new product to penetrate. Likewise, the next table shows households by possession of assets, radio and transistors. People are going at 17.3 percentage. Television is available at 33.4% of rural households. Computer and laptop is just at 0.7 percentage. Bicycle at 46%, 2% of rural household. Motorcycle has reached up to 14 percentage of the rural households, and that means there is a lot of scope for the marketer to understand their need, to customize their product, and to make this product available for the rural buyers to purchase. This is an activity for you to think critically. Instant noodles are highly popular in cities but very rare in rural India. Why? If you want to do the assignment, you can do at your end. You can take the feedback of your relatives, those who are residing at your village, and you can take the answers or feedback from them. How do they like, or what is the feedback towards instant noodles? Do they really like it or not like it? If they like it, how frequently they are purchasing it? If they are frequently purchasing, which brand they are purchasing? If they are purchasing from a particular brand, what type, why they are liking the taste, liking the brand? Is it for the taste? Is it for the availability? Is it for the packing style or something else? If you are really interested to do this kind of market research, you can do. You can make few questions related to acceptance of noodles in villages. You can take the feedback from your relatives, from your friends, from your local people who are living in rural background, and what is their opinion towards instant noodle. So you will get the factors why they're liking it, why they're not liking it, and you can always conclude what is the percentage of penetration of noodles in your village. The place of purchase for rural buyer is local shops. The backbone of rural retail is the local kirana shops. Villages rely on these shops for daily essentials like oil, tea, biscuit, and soap. Purchases are usually small and frequent, small in size but frequent in numbers, based on daily cash flow. Based on daily cash flow means what they are earning on a daily basis, they decide how much to purchase and how many times they are purchasing. Trust plays a major role. Shopkeepers are the influencer at this point, and they often extend credit to familiar customers, and it helps the customers to bribe the product and pay later. And it is all by through the system of credit giving, the shopkeepers are strengthening the loyalty between the customer and themselves. So daily FMCG needs purchased from Kirana shop, easily accessible in villages, and relationship-based buying is same in the buying behavior of villages. The next place of purchase is weekly hats and mandis. Weekly markets, that is a key shopping places where they get variety of products along with vegetables, groceries, utensils, clothes, chappals, slippers and many more. Weekly hart or that normally we refer to as bazaars and mandis are very popular in rural India. People gather once a week to buy vegetables, utensils, groceries, and clothes. These are not just economic spaces but also social hubs where villages meet, exchange news, and strengthen community ties. For marketers, hearts are a cost effective place to introduce products directly to consumers because there is a direct transactions or interaction between the buyer and the sellers and available of products are more in varieties. You can get product like from a needle to product like from a product like a cow. They usually purchase cows and big ticket size product from a hat. So weekly hat is the prominent established purchase place for the rural buyers. Then the next purchase decision by purchase place is nearby towns for major purchases. When rural households want to buy big ticket items like TV, refrigerator, two wheelers, branded clothes, and marriage shopping, they usually go to the nearest town. These towns provide more variety, modern shops, and access to brands. Purchases are often timed with festivals and weddings when incomes are higher and spending decision was socially significant. So product like durables, electronics, apparel bought in towns or nearby towns, they usually decided from in a family decision, then they visit the nearest town to purchase high ticket items that we discussed recently. Wider variety and branded options are available in towns. Big ticket purchases are linked with festivals and weddings. Think of a rural haat as a local mall. Farmers bring their produce, traders sell household items, and villagers shop for weekly needs. Companies like HUL and ITC often use haats to demonstrate their products like soap samples. Sometimes, if you remember, when you have visited last time to your village hut, you must have seen a person from HUL and ITC is doing the demonstration of soaps, new variety or new fragrance of soaps to you as a sample piece. Toothpaste or even a tea testing is going on in your hat. This is quite normal nowadays in big size malls, but this is also the same technique marketers like HUL and ITC are adapting and practicing in rural hat because Hart serves as a local malls for the villages. Farmers and buyers and sellers are congregated there. Opportunities for direct marketing, direct selling is there. So they usually take rural hearts in as for their demonstration purpose. Trust-based buying behavior of rural buyers. Unlike urban consumers who mostly pay cash or digital payment is there for urban buyers, rural consumers often rely on trust-based system. Shopkeepers provide credit essentially until the harvest season when families get more income. This creates strong loyalty between the seller and the buyer because seller is allowing the buyer to pay later that we may refer or connect with the credit card system at urban places but at village this is purely on trust based buying behavior of the seller and buyer. Word of mouth is powerful. If a trusted villager endorses a product, others are likely to adopt it. We have discussed in the last unit how the sarpanch is influencing the buying behavior of a paint that the villager want to do for his house. Shift towards digital payment. Slowly, growing use of UPI and mobile wallets Cash is still in demand. Cash is still dominating the payment system, but digital payments are slowly spreading in rural areas as well. Schemes like PMJDY and the popularities of smartphones, phone pay, Google Pay have enabled people to use UPI and mobile wallet. The pandemic, or as we know, the COVID accelerated the online selling process, and this shift has now is visible scenario in villages also, where more people started using contactless transactions. For marketers, this trend opens new avenues for e-commerce in rural India. So marketers have to keep an option for online payment, because nowadays this is popular among the buyers. They want to pay contactless payment, or they want to get rid of paying or waiting for the change to receive from the shopkeepers. If they want to pay 23 rupees, 50 rupees, it is easier for the seller buyer to pay online rather than counting the cash and getting the change from the shopkeeper. So there is a shift in payment style also. Current trends in rural consumption. Rural consumption is no longer limited to food and essential. With better economies and exposure, villages are spending on education, healthcare, cosmetics, and even electronics. Technology and digital platforms are reshaping how people are buying at rural bed, while women are playing a strong role in household decision making. So, summarizing the entire thing, we can say rising demand beyond the essential products, growing influence on technology, increasing participation of women, shift towards aspirational good. This is the current trend in rural consumption. Then the next is insurance penetration. Insurance is gaining ground in rural India. About one fifth of new policies are from rural areas. That means people are getting informed about insurance products. People are becoming more aware of health and life security, supported by micro insurance and government schemes like Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. Still, the coverage remains lower than urban, leaving room for future growth. 22% of the new insurance policies from rural areas. That signifies growing awareness of risk and security. So there is a scope for the micro insurance companies to penetrate rural India for their product. Financial inclusion has been a game changer. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana opened millions of bank accounts, many with RuPay cards. This gives villagers access to saving, credit, and insurance. So this is a paradigm shift in in buying style or saving style of villages. Self-help group, SSGs, and microfinance institutions also empower women with small loan for consumption and business. As by Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has increased 30 crore bank accounts or more than that. RuPay cards issued widely. So people at village are also having a credit system through RuPay card or through from these SSG group and microfinance group. So they are having, or they are increasing their buying capacity towards different products. Smartphone penetration. More than half of the rural users now own smartphones. This has transferred consumption habits as villagers access entertainment, education, and e-commerce. WhatsApp and YouTube are essentially influential in buying decision of people of village with local language content. They are also getting information about the product through their known and favorite influencers on YouTube. So 58% of rural users have smartphones. They are exposed to social media, WhatsApp, where they are receiving information instantly, and smartphone, the gadgets through which they are getting connected with the outside world or social media. Internet access and women. A remarkable trend is the growing presence of rural women online. Nearly half of the rural internet users are women. They use smartphones for online education, health consultation, and even shopping. This shift is important because women are primary decision makers for household purchases. 42% of rural internet users are women. When women are receiving information about the product, they are definitely influencing the buying behavior of the family. They are getting information about e-learning, health application, health update information, online shopping methods, and they have the digital exposure of different YouTube influencer. They have different YouTubers, influencer on different social media. So this is also influencing the buying behavior of the rural customers. If we discuss about digital payments and what is the status of digital payments in rural belt. Digital payments are no longer an urban only trend. UPI based transactions are spreading to small towns and villages also. Mobile wallet, QR codes are appearing in Kirana shops. If you want to check also, you can remember or you can go and check whether your Kirana shop is having a QR code or not. COVID 19 encouraged cashless transaction, making rural consumers more comfortable with digital modes. That means simply the understanding is that UPI and wallets increasingly used in rural belt also, safer and convenient than cash. Adaptation of and has boosted due to the COVID. Processed food growth. Processed foods are gradually becoming part of rural diets. Biscuits, snacks are affordable, easy to store, and available in small packs. Tea remains the most popular beverage across households, but for marketers, rural India is a massive market for affordable packed food. But the penetration rate of biscuits and bakery is up to 37% in rural market, and snacks up to 20% of penetration rate, tea up to 18%, that we already know about it. But the choices of rural market customer is slowly changing from the traditional food to the modern food like biscuits, bakery items. Durable goods ownership. Durable goods are a symbol of progress in rural areas. Motorcycles provide mobility, mobile phones ensure connectivity, and TVs bring entertainment. With increasing income, more rural households aspire to own refrigerators, washing machine as well. Companies target rural festivals and wedding season to sell these kind of products. And it is quite common to all of you that mobile phones are widely available in the rural belt. They are now having no issues for transportation. They have their own motorcycle, TVs and refrigerators. They are also owning it. Reliance Jio was a turning point for rural India by offering cheap data plans. It brought millions of villages online for the first time. This access opened doors to e-learning, e-commerce, social media and digital payment that we already know about it. For marketers, it created a direct communication channel with rural customers or rural consumers with the seller. So that the major points are affordable data in a and available data, and millions of villagers are now paying attention to online purchases, and it is boosting e-commerce and digital payments. The key takeaways from this entire slide discussion is rural demand is diversifying due to more number of information they are gathering from social media. Technology reshaping buying behavior. We discussed about UPI payment or online wallet. Women playing bigger role due to exposure to the social media and more enhanced literacy rate. Processed foods and durables gaining around in rural belt due to test change or due to the information gathered for the product. So the big picture is that rural India is no longer about only few products. Demand is diversifying into financial products, processed food, durables, and digital services. Technology, especially smartphones, is the game changer. Women are central to decision making, making them a critical audience for marketers. So marketers need to take care of all these factors while doing their marketing activities. Let's discuss on income trends. Male income in rural areas is still dominant, though it shows volatility. During April and June 2020, many rural men received relief wages and agricultural earnings, leading to a temporary income peak. Men continue to be the primary bread earner of the family, but the role of women is also steadily rising. in the month of April and June in 2020, there is a relief for the pandemic, and it was observed that the buying style at that particular period has was changed due to their buying behavior, purchase capacity, or due to their enhanced purchase capacity because of this relief schemes. And with this, though women are not earning as like the men, but they are the influencer in buying behavior of the house. How do the women earn? Women income when income has grown steadily, though at a smaller scale compared to men, but it is increasing. Self-help groups like SSG, handicrafts, tailoring, dairy, and petty grade give them stable incomes. This financial independence boosts their confidence and influence in family consumption decision, because they are getting some income, or let it be a peanut income, but they are earning due to their SSG group, due to the engagement with handicraft group, or tailoring activity, or any factory activity that is available in their village. But at least they are contributing to the financial status of their family, and they are also deciding the purchase behavior of the family. The gap between male and female income is slowly narrowing. Women now contribute not only to daily expenses but also to saving and investment. This is a major factor. Women are now also considered as a discussed about the factors that shape the buying behavior of the rural buyer. Now let's understand how it affects the marketer's decision or marketer's marketing strategies. Because rural households are spending more on services like banking, healthcare, and education. They are relying on health insurance scheme, private schooling. They are also spending money on online education and telemedicine. So marketers must think beyond physical goods and focus on rural services as well. Digital and mobile first. With smartphones becoming common gadgets in rural belt, rural marketing must adopt a mobile first services strategy while deciding their marketing activities. Social media is shaping aspiration and consumer choices. Mobile based advertisement, WhatsApp campaigns, and YouTube content or related YouTube content or language specific YouTube content have proven effective as a marketing strategy for the marketers. At the same time, digital payment adoption makes e-commerce more practical in villages. So the most important points are whenever the marketer is deciding the marketing activity, they need to take focus. They need to take consideration in for the use of mobile first strategy, because if they're avoiding it, they cannot reach to each and every one of village. So if they're deciding any marketing strategy, they have to focus more on mobile first strategy. Social media is influencing mobile marketing, and digital payments is also saving or having a growth, are considered as the drivers of uh, purchase behavior. What are the next strategy for the marketers? Localized strategy. To succeed, marketers must adapt strategies to local context. Distribution through kirana stores and last mile network is crucial. Building trust via opinion leaders such as teachers, village heads, or SSG leader is very effective. That we discussed in the last unit. You cannot avoid, or the marketer cannot avoid, the influential person of the villages who usually shape, or villages usually refer the person for their buying decision, let it be a big size ticket size item or a small ticket size item. IT's e-Chopper and HUL's Project Sakti are the classical example of successful rural marketing models. So when the marketer is deciding about the strategies or marketing activities, they have to take a note on kirana stores and last mile distribution points. Use of local opinions of leaders for trust building is a must. Rural market as growth engine. Rural India will remain the growth engine of India's economy. With urban markets saturating slowly, most companies are now focusing on rural market for their expansion. Rising incomes, improved literacy rate, and aspiration of make rural India a prime consumer base for the future. These factors are equally important for the marketer who is deciding for the marketing activities to penetrate the rural belt, because it is a untapped and highly potential market for the marketers. The consumption in rural areas is shifting in three key ways. First, the households are moving from buying only essential products to aspirational branded products. Second, there is a gradual shift from cash to digital transactions. Third, shopping is no longer limited to hearts and kirana stores. Many are experimenting with hybrid mode of shopping, that is online on offline models. So when the marketer is planning for the marketing activities, he is also taking a note how do they purchase and how do they pay. They are purchasing, or their purchase decision is slowly changing from essential product to aspirational product. We have already discussed. They are looking for packed items. They are looking for services in villages also. Nowadays, they are paying through digital transactions. They are also purchasing from a hybrid mode, both offline and online shopping. What are the opportunities for marketers? The future offers great scope for the marketers. Small packs and sachets will continue to dominate because they match rural affordability. That we discussed in the last unit. How the sachet marketing strategy has gained sufficient market share for their product. Digital engagement must use local languages for maximum impact, because they are now these villages or the rural buyer are exposed to YouTube's and Instagram. If you are creating a content related to their language and their need, your product can reach them. Additionally, the rural markets present a huge scope for financial services, microfinance, and online educational platforms, because these products and these services are not yet gone to their households. So the key understandings are: affordable small packs or sachets still effective as a marketing strategy. If you are making any YouTube content, it need to be related to their language of understanding. And there is a huge scope for financial product, microfinance product, insurance product, and e-learning product. So the major key takeaway from the entire discussion is that rural India is evolving rapidly in terms of their choices of purchase behavior, buying decisions, and they have increased power of purchase or more capacity to purchase due to variety of government schemes and SSG group. They have cash in their pockets. They are moving from essential good to aspirational goods. Sometimes they are also looking for service products also, and they have started investing in insurance product, online education, private schooling. So rural aspirations are rising. Technology is reshaping consumption. It is quite easy and visible also. People are exposed to rural social media. Everyone is having a smart Android phone. So informations are easily available to this rural buyers. So because they are having information of the product, or they are getting a product for their need, so their buying behavior is changing also. Previously, they were not having information in this quantity because limited sources were available to them. But nowadays, because smartphone is available, internet connections is available, and they are exposed to social media and different kind of some online platform, they are getting more information about the product. So also their marketing behavior, purchase behavior is also changing. Women are becoming central to decision making, from groceries to durable product. This is a change because women is also getting educated. They are having more number of information. They are exposed to SSG group. They are spending more time on online scrolling and online information gathering. So women are becoming the central decision makers, from groceries to durable product. So when marketers decides a marketing strategy, and their success depends on localized marketing strategy that respect rural culture while offering aspirational product. So the marketer need to understand that nowadays the decision or buying process or the purchase behavior is changing as per the requirement of the customers, because they are getting a product for their requirement. They are gathering information, they are evaluating information, taking the feedback. They are also doing the demonstration of the or receiving the demonstration of the product. So they are now the these days consumer itself is educated about the product. So, and they also know where they can get the product. So marketers need to think and innovate strategies for their marketing activity if they want to penetrate into rural belt. As we also understand, rural belt is having huge scope for varieties of product like banking, financial, microfinance, and insurance products, same like online education system, and many more. They are now slowly getting more brand oriented person. Previously, villages used to purchase only essential items, but nowadays, because of these factors, they are also getting conscious about durable products or branded durable products. So these are the shifts, and these shifts or these changes are also changing the buying behavior of the villages. So if the buying behavior is changing, equally the marketer has to change. Marketer cannot depend only on traditional way of selling their product in villages. traditional way of strategies, making strategies for rural marketing. They need to change their approach, they need to update their marketing strategies, and they need to innovate new strategies to reach every household of the market. So this is all about the section of the entire unit. And for exercise purpose, you can do this kind of self reflection. Think about why rural India is so critical to future growth. How can marketers balance affordability with rising aspiration? And finally, can digital payment, digital media really replace traditional rural shopping places like hearts and kirana shops, or should both coexist? These are the self reflection points for you because you understood all these factors in detail. So you can do self exercise, you can do self brainstorming activities, and you can reflect your viewpoints on future growth engine of India, and how should marketers balance affordability with aspiration, and do rural marketing activities, or can rural marketing activities create a larger market for the marketers? Thank you. With this, we end this unit. Thank you.